Uh-oh, reported just the other day, household debt has risen to 14.6 trillion with a T due to record-breaking rises in mortgages. In fact, quarter four of 2019 to quarter four of 2020, another $1 trillion of just mortgage debt alone was added. Whoa. Now, of course, this brings you to the experts that are now running their mouth that, oh no, a crash is coming, the end of the world, your housing values. So what should you do if you're in the market to buy a house, or you're a homeowner and you're like, oh God, what if it crashes? What do I do? What do I say? Oh my God. Will we see another crash like 2008? That's what we're talking about today. Well, welcome back, first of all, to my Sweet Life MVPs. Glad to have you back as always. I hope you're ready for another supercharged video for personal finance. So what's really crazy, I think, is that home prices are going up despite a complete halt to the economy in 2020. So we're losing jobs. The stock market dipped in March of 2020, but house values continue to soar to an all-time record high. I mean, I'm looking around even my neighborhood and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe these houses are going for the prices that they are. So obviously one thing is the mortgage rates are extremely low, at almost an all-time low, 2.5%, 3%. That's incredible. And also this push of work from home status for a lot of different companies are driving people to say, hey, I don't like my smaller house, I need to upgrade, and I want to have my own office because I work from home. So it kind of makes sense why this is all of a sudden starting to happen. And that leads us to wonder if people are taking advantage of these great mortgage interest rates and at the same time paying all these high mortgages, are we setting ourselves up for another mortgage bubble that's about to pop? It actually starts with wages and home prices. As wages go up, home prices go up, and they like to go up kind of in tandem. That's a healthy economic system. And thanks to inflation, that's why back in 1970, you could buy a house for around $25,000, and today the average mean is around $300,000. But wages have continued to go up in tandem with house values. But, when house values start going up at a skyrocketing rate, like they are right now, and thanks to 2020, wages are kind of starting to stagnate, you set yourself up for a little bit of a problem. So even though mortgage rates are at an all-time low, around 3% or lower, if your house values are so much higher than the people are willing to buy, it kind of becomes a game of cat and mouse. Now you got two things. As a homeowner, you're probably really excited. That means the equity in your house is going up, you're looking good, and you're making all this money for simply just sitting on your toilet in your master bedroom. But if you're somebody that wants to buy a home, you're kind of annoyed because all of a sudden the price that would have been for, I don't know, maybe $200,000 is now up to $250,000 or $300,000, and you're like, oh man, that is so much more money than it used to be. It actually takes me back to my first original home purchase. In 2007, right before the last bubble pop, I purchased a home for $199,000, and then boom, pop goes the market. And believe it or not, guys, get ready, hold on to your beer, because I had my house value drop to $85,000, from $199,000 to $85,000. So what I did is I did good old hodl, and I held on for dear life. I kept that house for another 10 years until the market conditions improved. But I'm not going to lie, there were many days that I just wanted to cut my losses, sell the house, and get the hell out of there. So with these house values skyrocketing yet again, and wages kind of like starting to stagnate because of all the layoffs and all the issues of 2020, are we set up for another housing bubble? Well, after a while, you have a point where you have buyers in the market, but they aren't able or aren't willing to buy a home due to the price. When sellers can't sell the houses they want to sell fast enough, well, they end up lowering the price as a result. This, of course, will lead us to a housing price correction, not a crash, not a bubble pop, but a correction to maximize sales over purchases. This happens often once the ebb and flow of real estate prices combined with various mortgage interest rates drive home values up or down. Now, unlike 2008, which is really in its own league by itself, there are a few things that we need to think about when it comes down to this housing correction. Here are two examples of potential strain. Number one, you have the inability to sell. You're in a home, you're trying to sell this home, but because of the price correction, you might have negative equity, kind of like I had back in the last issue of my $199 all the way down to $85,000. But even if it drops $5, $10, $15, $20,000, you have a choice. You either short sell your house or you have to bring that extra cash to closing, which means you're not really making any money on the sale of your home. That could leave people in a lot of strain, especially if they have no other choice but to sell the home because they've been uplifted because of their job, they have to move to another state, or whatever it would be. So if a housing price correction happens and all of a sudden we're starting to see the interest rates start going back up, in a typical arm of a 5-to-1, that means after 5 years, that rate can adjust. And if you got in on it at 2.5% and it shoots up to 5%, you're gonna have to pay a lot more money per month on your mortgage. That could actually push people to potentially foreclose on their house or have to short sell their house. And that was kind of the recipe for the failure of 2008. Now, what happened back then are they were giving a lot of people a lot of mortgages that were totally unqualified. And then what happened is those rates adjusted and you had a bunch of unqualified people that couldn't afford the mortgage, and that led to the ultimate financial collapse of 2008. There's been a lot of regulation, a lot of procedures put into place to avoid that in the future, but it could still put some people on an edge of failure if you go up from, like, let's say a 2.5 to a 5% in your mortgage interest rate if you select a non-fixed rate mortgage. The only thing I think that would cause a major housing crash is if all of a sudden a lot of people started to have this issue where they had the inability to sell, or an adjustable rate mortgage that gets out of their pricing league and they are forced to either short sell or foreclose on their house. If that happens at a massive scale, then of course we could potentially have another market crash, a housing market crash that we obviously want to avoid. But here's the deal. Do I really know if there's gonna be a housing market crash? No. Do you? No. Do the experts? No. It's honestly a little bit of an airspace that nobody can truly understand. It's like a meteorologist. Is it really gonna rain today or not? Is it gonna snow tomorrow or not? You don't know, because there's a lot of different factors that have to play that would get us to that point of a market crash. The most important thing I would focus on is work on paying down your debts and work on paying down that mortgage, so that way when you're debt free, you don't have to worry about foreclosure, because foreclosure only happens on a mortgage. Patience and intelligence is the real key, MVPs. Well, I'm working on paying off my mortgage because I certainly don't care about a price correction. I want to get out of the trap and have zero debt. If you want to follow my journey, here's a playlist over here you got to click. Here's another video that you might be interested in. And until next time, continue to live your sweet life.